Hello and welcome to the Property Business Podcast. We've got an international guest on the show today, my business coach, my mentor, the reason why I actually joined EXP in the first place. Jason Simard, how are you?
Hey, really good. Nice to see you guys. I love this. I'm here in Canada, which, by the way, fun fact, is a Commonwealth country. So, just so you know that, shout out to you guys.
we know.
And Jonathan Woods is sitting there right now at a pub, which makes this like the most UK experience for me. So, I can't wait to come actually out there and visit you guys. But yeah, James, so good to see you, my friend.
Really good to see you. So obviously you were the reason why I joined EXP. Originally, I found out about you by listening to a podcast, and basically you were killing it. You were a relatively new agent and you were selling more homes than really anyone else has done in their first year. Obviously, real estate is completely different in Canada and the US than what it is in the UK. But in the US, if you sell, just to give you an idea, US and Canada, if you sell 10 homes in your first year, you are an exceptional agent. Just to give people an idea, you earn more commission and it's a very, very competitive industry. So I listened to your podcast, you absolutely killed it, and I really liked you, and you were exactly the type of agent that I wanted to be. And then I met you at a real estate conference, and then you were one of the coaches on it. We connected straight away. I then employed you as as my real estate coach. We became really good friends, and then things have just grown from there. But you've done lots of podcasts before, talking about how amazing you've done over the years. I mean, people, if they want to listen to that in depth, then it'll be a good idea for them to just type in your name into YouTube and they can find that. But we really want to dive into a few other things today. But before we get started, do you want to give us the real quick, couple of minute version of your history in real estate and how you got to here?
Sure. I came into real estate at a financial rock bottom. So if anybody's listening right now, if you're there, that's where I started. I was minus $80,000 in the hole. I'd gone through a divorce, and I got to tell you guys, there's two things that can happen when you hit rock bottom. One is you could have PTSD, post-traumatic stress, or you could have post-traumatic growth. And I just learned about this recently. And for me, I developed post-traumatic growth, which meant I took the adversity and I channeled that and I became laser focused. I burned the boats. I burned the ships. There was no plan B. I was going to build a business or die trying that would change the fortune and the outcome of my future and my future children. And so from rock bottom, guys, I was able to build a business to where, 8.5 years later, here I am on a podcast with some gentlemen that are part of my global organization, somebody that's become a good friend with James and Jonathan. It's nice to get to know you. But how cool is it that I can be a financially free man at 40 years old because of this industry coming from where I did 8.5 years ago? So just to give you the quick Cole's notice, from rock bottom to be in a place where I can go and live the life that most people dream of because of this industry. I'm very grateful.
I remember you started by borrowing 50,000 off your brother-in-law to invest in the business. I think
45,000.
you were hired an assistant straight away. You stuck a load of money into lead gen and you started closing deals pretty quickly, didn't you?
Yeah, well, one thing I knew, because I did have a business acumen, I was a bank manager. I ran my own financial institutions for 8 years before getting in the industry. And I worked a couple of years closely with realtors, teaching them how to utilize the internet to monetize their businesses. And the one thing that I learned is that leverage is the key to success in business. If you can leverage out your lowest per income activities so that you can stay in your lane of doing the highest income producing activities, that is how you build a sustainable business. You looked at any real estate mogul that's done phenomenally well, at least the ones that I've met, the one thing that they have is they have proper leverage. Because one thing that most realtors fall in the trap of is exchanging time for money. And you can work 80, 90 hours a week and you can burn yourself out. But the thing is like, you're not actually running a business. What you have is a very high paid job. That's it. And you're one life event away from losing everything. And I think there's people right now probably listening to this that are like, well, that's real estate. Sure, that's real estate for most people. However, there are a small percentage of people who come into this business and they look at it differently. And that was me. I came in with the intention of building a business right from day one. It was never to be a career realtor myself. It was to use real estate as my platform to then be able to diversify myself to where I could use leverage in my life to create multiple streams of income using what I was good at, which was selling real estate.
You obviously sold a lot of real
Thanks.
estate to begin with. You then grew a team. Once you
Yeah.
got to that point, you then realized that you could, most likely help other people grow their teams. So you went into coaching. You obviously started coaching people like myself. And I remember when we first started, you would wake up at God knows what time in the morning and you would get on Zooms and you would, till you went to bed, would be on Zooms. And you'd come on and I could see you were shattered. And you could see that you weren't necessarily looking after yourself. You were just working, 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 looking to build a business, looking to build the next business. And then obviously the EXP opportunity came along. So tell us about how that came along and why you decided to join EXP.
Yeah. So one thing I've always personally believed in is branding, right? I used to be with Remax when I started in real estate. So they had the big balloon and they always try to promote their brand as why you're successful. But I always knew that that wasn't true. I never got a phone call because I was at Remax. I got phone calls because of who I was as a person, as an agent, and how I'd marketed myself. And so the day that I started in real estate, I started my brand, which was Sims Real Estate Group. And I knew that that was going to be how I would differentiate myself in the market and how I would actually have an asset. See, the thing is, most realtors don't think about this, but you should. Like your name or your brand is like, that is what you're going to be known for. That is what you're going to be able to monetize. And that's something that other companies cannot own. The big mistake is people allow themselves to use their agency's branding and they think that's why they're successful. And the truth is it's your personal branding that's going to make you successful. And when you learn how to do that, it can change the outcome of your life. So I didn't even know about EXP until 3 years into real estate. And I was 3 years at Remax and I started going down the journey of saying, I'm independent. We have this Remax brand, but we don't use it. Like, how can I go and really build something that's going to be an asset long-term for me and my business partners? And so I went down the path of looking at starting my own independent brokerage, started looking at, you guys call them agencies, I believe in the UK.
Yeah,
Is that right?
real estate
It's
agencies,
a
yeah, estate
combination.
agents.
Was
Okay.
yeah.
So I started thinking, well, maybe I need to buy my own, but I kept coming to the same conclusion, fellas. I'm buying a video store. And I'm like, I haven't rented a movie from a video store for like 25 years, right? Like, I'm like, that's not on trend with where things are going. And the one thing that I ignored was EXP. Why? Because my brokers at the time told me, oh, you don't want to look at that, right? Because they knew, they were scared. Just like when Netflix came about, a lot of people at Blockbuster probably got nervous and they probably didn't give them enough credit in the beginning. And then Netflix went on to become this massive company and Blockbuster's no longer around. Now, that may not be a thing in the UK, but I'm telling you, Blockbuster used to be massive when I was a kid in
Oh,
North
It's
it
America. I
yeah,
mean,
was.
same exactly.
is
Same
it was
exactly. Yeah.
everywhere. Like you couldn't,
Yep.
like there was a multiple Blockbusters in every city. And like, they had endless movie rentals and gone. It was like so quick, like their demise. And the reason it was so quick is because they didn't adapt with technology. The one thing that we can't fight is evolution and technology. Every single industry. Look at Amazon. Amazon is like the largest company on planet Earth now. You can literally order something on Amazon and have it delivered to your door the next day. It's like so crazy how fast that can happen. And so real estate, in my mind, I'm like, this is going through a shift. Now that shift has happened faster in North America than it's probably happening in the UK. But I'm telling you, it's going to happen there because it just makes sense. Why would I go and be an employee of an agency, give up a lot of my income when I'm not getting the value back? Why would I do that when I can go own my own brand, create my own business, and be able to keep a lot more money in house, create diversity and income streams, right? Build my own business that I'm actually the owner of. Like that makes more sense. Now that's more of the culture of what we have probably in real estate in North America. And it maybe is something that's a newer concept as it's coming into the UK. But I'm telling you, as you guys start realizing how much money is being left on the table because you're hanging your license at an agency, it's going to be mind-boggling the shift of people that come over and want to join us at EXP because you can't stop a good thing. I'm telling you, like this has been life-changing for me. James, how much better do I
Yeah.
look now than I did 5 years ago when we were talking?
Oh, it was crazy. As I said, you would
Just,
you were slightly bigger, and yeah, you weren't healthy. Oh my Lord, you look amazing, and that's because you've managed to build a business that effectively could run itself. and you
Right.
can now
Jason,
look
I was going to,
after it.
sorry to interrupt, Jason. I was saying so many things that you've just said there kind of resonate so much with the process. One, personally, in terms of where I see my growth and where I want to take my business to. In terms of leverage and getting to a point where you have that ability to diversify and to move away from being just as you used to put it, a career realtor. I think the transitional points you said about working for Remax as a brand and thinking that people thinking that the brand is what you get that gets you to the door. Well, that's something that you hear a lot of in the UK about people that they're just working jobs and they think that they're really successful, but it's the name, it's the person that's actually getting the instruction. It's not the brand.
That's
But
right.
there's so many things that you've kind of put through there, which I think there are a lot of people would think the same thing and understand it.
Yeah. So anybody listening to this right now, this would be my call to action. Number one is really take a look. Do I have a brand or am I an employee? And if you're an employee right now, I want you to look in the mirror. That means that at any point that the rug could be pulled from under you. That if you stop showing up tomorrow and stop selling houses, that there's no more income coming in for your family. If you get sick, you get hit by the Coke truck tomorrow, everything changes for you. So understand that. Second thing I would say, if you're somebody right now who's an agent, ask yourself, can I really sustain this in a healthy manner for the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? Am I really living a healthy lifestyle doing real estate the way that I am right now? And if the answer to some of those questions is no, then you need to poke some holes and start looking at different opportunities that are there because they're right in front of you. And sometimes all the answers we're seeking are right there and we just don't know to look. But like I can tell you as somebody who's used this model to completely transform my life, it makes sense. You could literally sit here and poke as many holes at it as you want, but at the end of the day, you will not be able to show us a model that's better and more sustainable than what EXP has built. EXP is a multi-billion-dollar company, right? They're one of the only profitable brokerages in the world right now through like this recession that we've been going through this last year and a half, at least in North America. They're one of the only profitable brokerages, and they give away 50% of all their top line revenue back to us, the agents, because what they discovered is instead of hiring agents as employees, let's partner with them and allow them to benefit in the growth of the company with us. It's a completely fundamental different culture, but I'm telling you, being an owner of something means that you actually have an asset. Whereas if you're an employee, the rug can get pulled from underneath you at any point.
Yeah, I
So
think
Jason, you went from having your own
sorry, if you
coaching
can hear me, I
company
think
to offering basic. Yeah, sorry, Jonathan. I was just going to say to Jason, you obviously had your own coaching company where you charge people for your time,
go ahead.
and then you realized that you could offer free coaching to anyone at EXP. So, I mean, you've obviously grown, and now how many people, under EXP, how many people do you help and coach every day? It must be astronomical since I met you.
Yeah. So, we have a coaching company, Sims Coaching Systems, that's brand agnostic. So, because there's people out there that, aren't open to looking at different models yet. And that's okay. We'll teach them how to sell real estate and how to make money from it. And when they're ready, they come to us. Great. We'll be there to help them. So we have our coaching company, Sims Coaching Systems. And then we have our EXP organization, which has 507 agents as of this morning, James.
Wow.
Yeah, 507.
Wow.
And when I first started talking to you, I think I had like 36.
Yeah.
So, Jason,
Yeah,
I think
and that's crazy because it's like
is crazy, really.
it's growing.
The exponential growth of that's massive. Yeah. It's huge. I don't know if my
Yeah.
sound is
Well,
cutting
and if
out
you
a
look
bit,
at
but
how many, yeah, you're
You are cutting out, but
is
go
my
ahead,
sound
Jonathan.
gone?
No,
I
go
was going
ahead.
to say for those people that understand the kind of the revenue share, you're talking about the sort of collaborative way of helping agents to grow, but to go from 36 to 500 in how many years is that? 4 years? 5 years?
I've been with EXP this August will be 5 years.
So probably
So
4 years from 36 to 501.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
507.
just again for people that understand it, so how many people personally, Jason, have you actually brought in on your front line?
I believe it was like 42.
Okay. So from that it's then grown out to this huge number of 500. Just to put that in perspective, Jason, do you know how many EXP agents in the whole of the UK there are? about
No,
just over 500.
really?
So
Wow.
yeah, so you have the
Wide
entire
open.
UK operation in one downline.
That's amazing. And
So
it's,
I mean, but we're right at the start there. And this is the thing is, I started a year ago. I had 10. I've now got 40. Um, and that will grow and grow because more and more people, like you say, there's only the options out there are there, but you can't find if once you understand it, you'll go to one brokerage, and I've already got people coming to me saying, actually, it's not what I thought it was, and also I can see that you've got a cap and this and this and this, and they'll come, and they will come, more of them will eventually. It just takes time, and it
you
does take a
guys,
bit more
the
time on
best
our end as
gift you
well.
can give, the best gift you can give is just get people to look and evaluate this opportunity. Plant the seed, have the conversation. You're doing them a favor. There is a fundamental shift that is going to happen in the UK, just like it has in America, Canada, and other parts of the world. People will start wanting to be owners and partners in their businesses, not employees. That is a
Yeah,
fundamental cultural shift that is happening. The baby boomer generation is getting much older, and the new generation is a lot more entrepreneurial, and they're going to be very receptive to a cloud-based model that allows them to diversify their income, that allows them to be a partner in the
100%.
company and have stock options, that allows them to build passive income, and more importantly, keep a lot more of the commission income that they're earning as opposed to giving it out to these expensive models that really give them nothing back in return.
So one of the things I also wanted to chat about is obviously if someone takes up the opportunity to work with EXP, they become a solo agent. Someone like, Jonathan is a really good example. Jonathan's done unbelievably well. He's literally turned a good job into an incredible business. But Jonathan's still working a lot of hours. He's still doing a lot of homes, selling homes himself. You've obviously, Jason, transitioned from doing that into now not having to sell homes yourself. What would be the advice you would give to people who have a good, solo real estate business? What processes should they go to turn it into a business that can run itself?
Yeah, good question. So first off, look at getting a mentor that always can help you fast track a lot of things. So if like getting the mentor, somebody who's done what you're trying to do can give you a lot of cheat codes to get there a lot faster. They've probably made a lot of the mistakes that you are going to make already, so they can talk you out of it, and then they can help you put a plan. So mentorship is going to be important. Find whether it's a group, whether it's a coach, somebody that's done what you want to do. Stand on the shoulders of giants, right? If you want to go where you want somewhere, stand on the shoulders of giants. Second thing that I would recommend that they do is start really evaluating how they're getting their business. Are you generating most of the business yourself, or are you more just getting the business handed to you from opportunity somewhere else? If you're in a position where you're creating the majority of your business, then you don't need anybody else. Then what you need to then do is like really focus on, how do I make my brand stronger so that I can continue to sustain that and get a bigger piece of the pie? So that's where you need to be able to look at different models that allow you to have more revenues to work from. And then from there, start leveraging out your non-income producing activities that take a lot of time and have no return for it, right? Some of those administrative tasks. Look for some different options. There's virtual assistants that you can get. You can find a local assistant, whatever makes sense to you. But for me, leverage is going to be key. And then once you know how to become a lead generator and a rainmaker, then it's just about finding other like-minded people that are not afraid to work and roll up their sleeves. Because there are people out there that don't want to be the entrepreneur. They don't want to be the rainmaker. They just want to come in here and sell houses. That's all they want to do. No problem. You can do that very effectively in this model.
One of the
I
things that
think
you used to
that
talk about with me was the three
go.
pillars and in regards to marketing.
Yeah.
And obviously, when you started, you had your three pillars. They'll be different probably to what they are in the UK because we obviously we market slightly differently. But one of the things I've already noticed with the agents here is they're often very good at like one way of generating leads. We find that like letters are very good in the UK, and just people's referral network and stuff is very good. But people aren't spending money on their business. I find they spend. I think if we worked out the percentage of what agents spend on marketing here compared to the US, it will be minuscule. So you obviously spent a lot of money on marketing. So I gather you would advise people to invest in their business and do the same.
Yeah, I mean, find what your pillars are going to be. So for me, I had three pillars. Internet leads were a big one, referral networks and social media branding. I wanted to make sure that I built a strong brand. So if I'm in the UK right now, I'm getting on the YouTube train. I think that's going to make a lot of sense. Really start building out some content there. That's going to be huge. Really adopt the social media platforms and at least start owning mind share with people, because that's going to help you build your audience. And if I'm in the UK, I'm looking at squeeze pages, social media squeeze pages for properties, right? So I know you guys don't have the IDX systems like that we have in with the MLS systems, but you still have the opportunity to generate leads through social media channels and things like that. So I wouldn't be afraid to invest in those things. And then the tried and true stuff, like you just mentioned, right? Getting out there, go door knock some neighborhoods, get some flyers out, get some information, get some valuable emails, get some open houses, make a big deal of the properties that you're listing, get belly to belly with people, spend some time at your local pub and network and get to know people there, right? I mean, those are all things that are still tried and true that work really, really well. But the key is like pick 2 or 3 and really run with those, because we can get so diluted trying to do 10 things that we don't do anything very effectively. So I always tell people, if you can just do 2 or 3 things really well, you'll do much better. Even if you just got to, and did one thing and you did it exceptionally well, for most people, that would bring them a lot of success.
Jonathan, what were you wanted to say?
Oh yeah, for sure. And there are cheaper alternatives. Like I said, you can get overseas labor nowadays for a fraction of the price and find some really quality people. So again, you can get resourceful on how you find leverage, and there's different ways to do that. But ultimately, you got to get to a certain point where you have predictability in your income in your business. And I think that's where a lot of people may be listening to this right now. They're not quite at that level here where they've got the predictability. Well, if you can just make a shift in your model and save 30, 40, 50,000 pounds a year in commission fees, that's alone going to give you enough money to reinvest back in your business without it hurting your bottom line that you've been comfortable with. And I think that's the number one thing, is people need to start looking at this like a business, not just a job.
So Jason, we were starting chatting just before we came on the podcast, and you said, "Look, how can I help you guys? How can I help everyone in England?" And we started chatting about, you obviously have got this really good coaching company in the US, and you were saying, "Look, if anyone joins under us in the UK, they can have access to that." But I think one of the things that would be really good is to use what you've got and maybe adapt it. But talk about your coaching company and what you provide, and what maybe you could help people in the UK with already with what you've got.
Well, let me give you an example of a common question that I guarantee that you guys get. Okay, James, do you mind if I role play it with you?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So
It takes me back. We've done a lot of role playing in the past.
Yeah. So James, pretend to be just the typical guy that is asking about the market. I would assume that Jonathan, that comes up a lot. You have people that ask you, hey, so like, how's the market, or how are things going? Okay, James, ask me that question.
So Jason, how's the market? What are house prices like and stuff at the moment?
Yeah, you know what, James, it's a really good question. There's a lot of moving parts and volatility in the current market right now, and it's definitely presenting some opportunities. What part of the market are you most curious about?
Well, we're thinking about just buying an investment property, maybe somewhere we can stay in as well, something we can Airbnb out.
Okay, so you're looking for something that has some income upside, but also could be a home that you could spend some time in as well, something that kind of has dual purpose.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Paint that picture for me. Like, what are some of the areas that you're considering?
Most likely somewhere like Cornwall would be quite nice, somewhere that's on the beach, bit better weather, sunshine, go do a bit of surfing, for example, and it's a place that a lot of Brits go on away on holiday, so it'd be a good place, I think, to get, it'll be popular and people would rent it a lot.
So you see what I'm in there? I'm in a full needs-based conversation with you. I haven't started nagging you about the market. I haven't started being an annoying teacher telling you all about the market. I've literally just positioned it where I built myself up as an authority, and I'm asking good questions that are helping me understand the why you asked the question in the first place. Because there's a reason people ask it. And my job is just know the process on how to get people to feel comfortable opening up and get all that hidden inventory. But you see, in the matter of like a couple minutes, I'm in a full needs-based conversation. And by the end of this call, I would literally be able to move that forwards into us going out and starting to evaluate some opportunities that might make sense for you, making sure you get your ducks in a row. So for anybody listening right now, it's the skills side of real estate that they really need to work on too. If you want to become a better realtor, you need to learn how to have the right dialogues and the right processes. And I'm telling you, they're universal, whether they're in Canada, the United States, New Zealand, or in the UK. It's still the same fundamental conversations. It's still similar processes that you're going to follow to help people navigate. So that's a big part of the coaching and mentorship that we do, is teaching people how to become world-class agents. The other thing we teach them too is how to generate and create opportunities from their business and their database. And that doesn't mean going and spending a whole bunch of money on marketing campaigns. It means knowing how to ask the right questions, how to build the right follow-up systems that build trust and affinity with the people that you already know.
I think one of the big things that I've
So
noticed that a lot of people don't do as well here is like looking at getting more business and getting more referrals and spending a lot of time and effort on that. I know I used to spend a lot of time and effort on, my top, I think a lot of this you taught me, but my top 50 list clients, and then I would send them all gifts at Christmas, for example. I remember when I had, I'd make up a British cup of tea pack, and this British pack, and it had my face on it and all of this type of stuff. And a lot of these ideas I got from you, so that I would get more referral business. So is there any tips and stuff you can give people in regards to their, getting more out of their current network of people that they know?
yeah, I'll give you guys a couple tips. Number one, send out 2 to 3 gratitude messages to people every day. Just let people know how you feel about them. Don't ask for anything. Just literally love up on people. Okay, so gratitude messages go a long way, make people feel good. Second thing is understand reciprocity. If you go through, I don't know if drive-throughs are a thing there, but if you go through a drive-through and you buy a cup of coffee, you ever had somebody pay for your order in front of you? You ever had that experience, James?
No.
No? People don't do that in the UK? Okay, well, it's happened to me. Every single time that it's happened to me, I go and pay for the order behind me because I want to pay it forward. The order's always 5 times more than my order, but it doesn't matter. It's the point of like passing it on, a good thing. But there's this thing instinctively in humans, which is if somebody does something really thoughtful for you, you want to pay it, you want to like do something really nice back to them. So one of the things that I would suggest to anybody listening is start doing some strategic gifting. For example, when you get a listing signed with a client, why not like a day or two later, stop by with a nice, thoughtful gift and a card that just expresses gratitude for their business. Don't ask for anything. Then maybe a week later, when you're about to hit the market and you've done all your marketing and you have a follow-up conversation with them, you set them up and say, hey, listen, just so you know, now that your house is hitting the market, you're going to start having a lot of real estate conversations with your friends, your family members. They always come out of the woodwork. And I just want you to know it's my goal to always make sure you look really good to them anytime you recommend me. Worst case scenario, I'm always going to give them a really valid second opinion that helps them make the best long-term decision for themselves. As I'm saying this, James, is there anybody that comes to mind that you think I might be able to give some value to? Just start doing little things like that. Make that part of your process. That's something you could do every time. You start working with some new buyers after your first educational tour. Give them a nice little thoughtful gift with a little card just expressing gratitude at the opportunity. And then again, the next time you see them, you could set those receptors up. Hey, by the way, now that you guys have been out looking at homes, you probably realize you're having a lot of real estate conversations. And then you do the same referral receptor conversation. Because now what you're doing is you're setting people up where they're heightened. A, they want to pay it forward because you did something really nice and thoughtful for them. And B, they feel comfortable on recommending because you've educated them on how to do it. Those little things right there, if you consistently did that in your business, Jonathan, I guarantee you're going to get more referrals because now you have people that are actively looking to put people in front of you. And it's like little things like that, that if you learn these things and you put them into your business and consistently work them, you'll see exponential growth. The problem is people,
all these things that you're talking about, that is in your coaching program, which anybody can access for free.
Guys, we have 400 hours of recorded content in our library. So when you join our group, you get access to that. And it's like all documented and stuff. These are just like small things that you can go and do that I'm just giving you off the top of my head. But there's so much value there that you can plug into and become a better agent. Because the big thing that we're trying to do here is help you and all the agents that join us be better at their craft.
Awesome. We can hear you now.
Which is too late because they're no longer having those conversations anymore. They've closed that chapter now and they're moving on. It's always in the beginning that they're going to be having conversations. And this is where you're most likely to get introductions is at the beginning. And this is where you need a good process. So I literally just gave everybody here gold. If you can learn how to house the market, and if you can do what I just told you there, you could add 6 figures to your business annually easily by just mastering those 2 things. – 100%. Hey fellas, thank you. I'm here to support you guys. You know, I've done some of the right things. I've done some of the wrong things along the way. So there's a lot of things that I can teach you guys that like are from experience. And I'll tell you this, anybody that tells you that it's just like a straight road to success is a liar. Okay. There's going to be bumps along the way in success in anything that you do. And it's through those adversities that you really learn and grow. And post-traumatic growth, like I said, generally comes from moments in time where you're feeling a rock bottom. And so, James, Jonathan, I appreciate you guys. I love the expansion that's happening in the UK. And I think there's a lot of people whose eyes need to be opened to what is actually happening around the world. You guys are just a little bit behind the times there, but I'm telling you, just keep spreading the message because you're helping people change their lives. Just like Jonathan, how much has your life improved since you found EXP's model? Yeah, it'd be awesome. You should come to the Vancouver event, guys, in July. I'm gonna throw the best party you guys have ever been to. So I throw an annual yacht party. So you guys can make it July
Yeah, you
9th.
won't
It'll
be
be
able to keep
incredible.
up with us though, Jason.
You guys think that but you guys are used to like, shutting down at like midnight or whatever because the pubs. But you guys, good luck keeping up with the Canadians. No worries. I gotta go to the gym. So
Well,
thanks for having me, fellas.
thank you so much, Jason. It'll be great to have you over in the UK soon. Anyone who's interested in joining XP, reach out to Jonathan. You get basically Jason and myself as well as mentors and coaches and Jason, thank you so much for coming on, mate.
My pleasure, fellas. Take care.
Okay.